Dr. Jeffrey Halstead has been Canandaigua's hometown dentist for more than 35 years, offering routine dental care as well as cosmetic dentistry, implants, and dentures by their highly trained and experienced staff. Visit them online at canandaiguadentistry.com or find them on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome to FLX Weekly here on Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. I'm Jim Sinacropi inside the FingerLakes1.com studios, and grape harvest is underway across the wineries of the Finger Lakes and the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail. So, as usual, last Wednesday of the month, Katherine Chase of the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail in studio. She brought some grapes fresh off the vine. I mean, literally picked probably 20 minutes ago off the vines at Montezuma Winery. But we're going to get an update on the harvest across the region. We're going to sample some of these grapes fresh off the vine, and we're going to preview some events coming up on the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail. It's officially fall now, which means it's also time to start thinking about Christmas. So we're going to touch on that as well. But first, Seneca Falls Acupuncture is sponsoring today's episode of FLX Weekly. Did you know acupuncture can help reduce headaches? That's right. Acupuncture can provide relief from tension headaches, sinus headaches, and migraines. Chronic headaches can really interfere with your life, keeping you from doing the things you enjoy. At Seneca Falls Acupuncture, they love to help you reduce your headaches naturally so you can take back your life. Also, did you know that they accept FLX spending cards and health saving cards? Make an appointment today at SenecaFallsAcupuncture.com. That's SenecaFallsAcupuncture.com. Acupuncture, just one C, ACUPUNCTURE.com. And also, Blush by CV Designs, a local women-owned business in the heart of the Finger Lakes, offering women's clothing and accessories, quality home goods, and unique gifts in downtown Seneca Falls. See what everyone is talking about by visiting their store downtown on Fall Street in Seneca Falls, or browse all their products online at shopcvdesigns.com. Of course, Christine has the whole store decked out for autumn. I actually stopped in and got a few candles. They have great candles there, all different scents, so I stocked up. It's kind of candle burning season now as well here, and it won't be long before she starts to transition to Christmas in the store. So definitely stop by and see Christine at CV Designs. So, Katherine, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I want acupuncture now because I do feel a little bit of a headache starting.
Yeah, no, I mean, we had Michelle from Seneca Falls Acupuncture up here and did a live acupuncture
cool.
3-4 weeks ago, and it's right here in the same building too. We're on the third floor; she's on the first floor. But a lot of people come in for acupuncture for a lot of different things, including cosmetic acupuncture, which is something people might not be aware of.
Okay, no, I didn't know that.
Thing. But anyways,
I'm like, maybe I need to see her on the way out.
you have been in touch with all the wineries on the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail. We have trouble getting guests in here for, August and September shows usually because they're busy harvesting grapes.
They're doing a lot. So I reached out to a handful of them. I didn't get an update from all 10.
Mm-hmm.
Just, hey, how's harvest going? How far along are you in harvest? Are you excited about anything? So I got my little trusty notes here. So I actually talked to James at Swedish Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I had to move my car because it was in the way for spraying. So today, because it is raining, but they still have to do spraying to what's on the grapes because they can still get rot and disease and stuff. So he said that they're about 50% through their harvest.
Okay.
And they have, I don't know how many acres they have, but they have a lot. So they're about 50%. Not everybody is quite that far along.
Mm-hmm.
They've been very happy with the weather thus far, aside from the last few days of rain. There is rain in the forecast next week that he is looking ahead to, so they may have to do some weekend work.
But this weekend, nice and dry and sunny. So the idea is if you get too much rain during harvest, it creates mildew and mold.
Yeah, so
not good.
Some of the grapes, the clusters are really tight.
Yeah.
And it could cause them to burst, or the water likes to get into the little grape clusters, and then that'll cause the rot, and pests like to get in them. So they don't really want the rain, but you can't stop the rain because the rain also does growing. So it's, pros and cons. Then I also talked to Hosmer. They said their grapes are really clean. There hasn't been a lot of rot, hasn't been a lot of pests. The grapes are beautiful. There's a beautiful quantity. And I was like, are there any fun facts? And she actually told me, Brooke, who we had on a couple months ago, they harvested Merlot for the very first time. And it's a top secret. It's maybe not top secret.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. But what they're going to do with it. So I don't know if they're going to do just a Merlot, if they're going to do
Blend
a
it.
blend. So that'll be a future podcast
Okay.
to release what they're doing with their very first ever pick.
Yeah, you don't
Merlot.
see a lot of Merlot here
No,
in the
not
Finger
a-
Lakes,
not a
but
ton.
just another one of those on the red side of things that's really starting to develop here in the Finger
Yep,
Lakes.
so we'll see what Julia, their winemaker, does with their first pick Merlot. Thirsty Owl, they are having an awesome year. They picked Pinot Gris and Pinot Noir already, which it's early for in normal years. He's got no concern with this rain. He says, John Cupp, he said it's the best 18 days of September for weather that he's ever seen.
Yeah, I guess it
since
kinda
the
is.
2002 that they've been harvesting
Okay.
for this year, because it's been nice chilly
Yeah,
mornings,
unbelievable.
sunny afternoons. It's
Warm
been
Warm in the day,
Jinx.
cool in the night.
knock on wood, yeah. Because if it gets
And dry.
if it gets overly hot in the afternoon, they have to actually pick earlier. They'll get up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because the grapes prefer to be picked when it's a little cooler.
Okay.
So it's been absolutely ideal. He said vintage-wise, it's an average year for quantity, but it's super high quality.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, and he's really excited pretty much about everything, reds and whites, which is rare. It's usually just one thing in particular.
So 2024 looking like a great
Yeah.
vintage for quality, one that we'll remember, some you'll want to
Hopefully.
buy and maybe
Like
still.
how you talk about 2017.
Yes.
Maybe 2024 will be your next
Okay, I hope so.
memory. Cayuga Ridge, they have only harvested Gewürztraminer so far. He said the acid has held perfectly. It's been not too high, not too low. And then after 2 not so great years, that this year is kind of making up for a not so great yield. And I did ask about Riesling, so they also have really big Riesling blocks. And Riesling is one of the last grapes picked. It's kind of like how you can see that harvest is ending. They're not quite ready yet. They're only checking about every 5 days. So once they start checking every day, that's when we know harvest is starting to come to an end. But we're not quite there yet, 50%-ish for most of the wineries, give or take. But I do have some goodies for us to
Okay.
try. So to note, this is from Montezuma. Montezuma does not have their own grapes on site. So these are from local growers. But they do all their own production on site. And I don't remember when Phil, their winemaker, was on with us. It's been a couple years, I think.
Yeah, it was old studio.
It was the old studio, but I just came from Phil. So I have my chicken scratch handwritten notes from Phil. I'll try to decipher them.
Okay.
As you remember, he's so knowledgeable.
Yes.
So we can start with whatever you
You
want.
tell me. What are we looking at here?
Let's start with, we can start with the juice. So I did bring a
Okay.
juice. So this is a future Pet Nat. This is half Aramella and half La Crescent grapes. This will be one of their Valeur series. It does not have a name yet.
So this is just the juice of the
No,
grape.
this is days away from being ready for bottling, but not quite yet.
Oh, really?
So it's not 100% ready. It's will get a little less sweet and it will get bubblier. So they're waiting for that. But he said maybe
I
a
see.
matter of days before it's ready. And it's never been released before. So you are one of the first few to sip it. But
Yeah, it's got a
if
little
we try it
bit of-
again when it is bottled, it will taste completely different. It'll have more bubbles.
Yeah.
It'll have less
It
sweetness.
has a little bit of bubble
Yeah.
right now.
I didn't try it yet. I asked him for something of juice of any form of start to finish. And this is what he gave me because I think he's really excited about it. It's a total wild ferment, meaning they kind of foraged for whatever they used to ferment it with. And that's something that they've been doing a lot to help change the flavor. So if he does this vintage again, it might taste different again because he'll change the way the yeast tastes.
So when were the grapes that made this harvested? Like a month ago?
Good question. I didn't ask that.
But probably was some of the first that came off the vines.
This could be it could be last year's.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, these might not have been picked this year. I don't know that answer.
So this is close to going into a bottle.
He
because
said
it doesn't
days.
taste like it will when we
No.
open up the bottle,
Nope.
later
it's
next
still
year.
in the process.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So it's a pet nat. So
It's tasty.
we've had pet nat on before. That's the one where if you release it slowly, the sediment kind of comes up to the top. And you can see it's really cloudy. It'll get more bubblier, if that's the expression,
Yeah.
bubblier. And it is pretty sweet now. It does taste really good though. I
Yeah,
don't
I
mind
could
this
keep
sweetness
this in the
level,
fridge.
but it'll get less sweet as the couple days go on.
Yeah, I
But
like it.
again, never released. It has no name. I joked that we would name it for them, but I don't know. They have really clever names for their velour series.
Yeah, they are creative and not afraid to experiment at Montezuma.
Not at
which
all.
is fun, which is why we got to get him back in the studio. He
Absolutely.
was a fun guest.
We would need like a 2-hour show to really pick Bill's brain.
It's good.
But he also sent me so we have 2 different grapes. One is machine picked and one is hand picked. And you could definitely see the difference visually if you want to hold them up. You can tell hand picked, the whole cluster, machine picked, not on the cluster at all. Although there's some fragment pieces in there of
Yeah,
stem
there
and
is.
stuff. And the machine can't really pick through all of that.
Right.
Not camera ready was the term used. I was like, I don't care if it's camera ready. It shows the process.
Yeah.
It's all different. Yeah.
Right.
So since you're holding that one, we'll talk about that one. This is Vignoles, and you can eat it, of course. Find my notes here. He was talking about so much stuff.
Fresh grapes.
Yeah, so Vignoles is used at, as you know, the Martin family has many properties. It's used all across the board. Montezuma, Idle Ridge, all of them. Vignoles can vary sweet to dry. It's really, really firm pulp. I don't know if I tried one when I was there. I don't know how big the seed is. Looks like
Big,
you
big
picked
seeds.
one out as a big seed.
Yeah. There's 2 in each one at least.
It's not too bad. It's really good though.
So when they make the wine, whether they remove the seeds at some point, that affects what they're going for
It all
in
gets
terms of the
filtered
final
out.
product. Yeah, but if they choose to leave the seeds in for a little longer, is that something?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think it is. I think once they crush it, it goes through the filter and all the seeds and all this other sediment, the stick that's in here, it gets pulled out. But like here's like a not so great grape.
yeah.
But some of this is good rot that helps with the flavor.
Right.
That just comes with the machine pick of it. But what you taste here is not at all what you'll taste in the bottle. This tastes really good. I like Vignoles, so I'm not saying it tastes bad, but it doesn't taste at all what the wine will taste like.
Right.
But it's
But
not
this
a
is what
beautiful
it starts
grape.
with.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of these little grapes in the Finger Lakes are being billions?
Yeah, probably. And these
Just,
are little
over
tiny
the
grapes.
next month and last month in the Finger Lakes,
Billions,
like
yeah, probably.
trillions, maybe.
Kind of tastes like an apple. Actually, this one does.
Yeah.
It's good. I could eat a lot of those. I don't like picking out the seed. And Phil was telling me they've had a lot of, and because of the beautiful weather and the last couple of years of, the freeze and all that, the vines have been making up for those last couple of years. And there's a lot of grapes, which is the shift. But that gives them room to play. And so he told me that at the end of this week, they'll have processed as many grapes that they did the entire of last year. And it's only partway through the season.
Yeah, that's what's so great.
Yeah.
The differences from year to year.
Which unfortunately, though, could lead to a little bit of waste.
Well,
if
better to have
there's-
too much than too little, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But it does lead to some really fun opportunities to experiment. That's where some of the greatest wines have come from. They're like, oh, crap, we have too much Cab Franc, for example. Let's make this. And it ends up being one of their best sellers or something. So that's what's exciting, because maybe we'll see something neat out of that.
I like eating grapes.
Yeah. So the other one is a whole cluster. And he's like, I'm going to send you on something else. It was just going to be the juice and then the machine pick grapes.
Yeah,
So
no.
these are a Marquette grape. And you're actually holding a grape. It is fermenting right now in your hand.
Dark.
Yep. So this is a whole cluster fermentation. So he pulled it out of the bin, and they're fermenting in the bin. They've been adding dry ice
So
I think
before they get crushed, they're
before they get crushed, they're fermenting as a cluster. So if you eat this, which you'll get to, it is bubbly a little bit in your mouth.
Let's be the judge of
Yeah.
that.
So chew it kind of slowly so you can get it. So this is going to be used for their Marquette Nouveau, which will be released the third Saturday in November, which is when there's the Nouveau celebration all across the Finger Lakes. And a Nouveau wine is a wine released the same year it was harvested. So this was harvested, I think I saw the stickers said September 14th.
Yeah, mostly you harvest and release a year later.
Yep. So this one, it's harvested and released the same year. So it is fermenting as a whole cluster. It's fermenting right now, even still in this little cup, in your hand, in your mouth. So you'll taste a little bit of the bubblies. And Nouveau kind of breaks all the rules of regular reds. It's not as tanniny. It's fresher. And as we were talking, Phil and I, afterwards, I could still feel it tingling on my lips a little bit, which was cool.
Yeah, it's weird. There's like an effervescence to it.
Yep. Yep. Because that's the fermentation that you're tasting. So that was really neat. I've
Well,
never.
room for seeds. I just eat this whole thing at once.
Yeah, it was really. I was just chewing the seeds because they were so small. So.
Oh man, there is nothing. You know, you go to the grocery store and you get your grapes, and
Your
they're just
table
different.
grapes.
They're different. These, are unbelievable.
Not all of them taste good
As grapes.
as
Right.
as eating grapes. There are some, and you're like, wow, I would not eat these. Well, no, they're meant for drinking. Then there's some where you just can't stop. Some have huge seeds. Some have, like these ones, they were tiny enough to just crunch through.
Make a nice grape pie out of this.
I tried one grape one year. It was super sweet. I was like, what is that? And they're like, oh, that's a Baco Noir grape. But that's not a sweet wine. But the grape itself was super sweet off the vine at the time.
I'm housing these things.
Yeah, you are. So,
So good.
yep. So that's that. It's a really promising harvest after a couple years of, for some, devastation
Yeah.
or a lot of worry.
Frost 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been absolutely perfect weather so far. It's a great way to start harvest. Yeah.
So, a good harvest, does that usually translate into good finances for the wineries? You know, like more bottles, higher quality bottles, or is it more just a better product? Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, if you got to get excited if you're a winemaker to have a great harvest, because you think about, oh my God, when we get done with this, the wines that we're putting out are going to be our best ever, as opposed to a year where they're stressed and there's some issues and they're like just trying to do the best they can with what they got. So it's got to be really exciting, to have a pretty solid season like we had this year.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, in September, perfect conditions
Yeah.
for the harvest. So
I'm sure it's exciting. And then, their social media has something really exciting to talk about, and then that'll translate to the consumer, who's hopefully then excited to buy it. Because that's how they make the money, is when people buy it. Doesn't matter if the winemaker's excited.
well,
It has
also
to be.
a good vintage for us here in the Finger Lakes. Maybe it wasn't as great weather even in Long Island or in California or in any of the other regions of the world that are growing grapes. So it's another chance for the Finger Lakes wines to maybe, gain more traction on an international stage just
Yeah.
based on the quality of the harvest.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how anyone else fared. I know that we are really looking forward to 2024 vintage. And all these Nouveaux will be out early in November. And then January, February, March, we'll start seeing some early releases as well. Rosés come out in spring. So it'll be quick. Unfortunately, time goes fast. But it sounds exciting. I'm excited for Hosmer to have a Merlot. I'm sure there's others who I didn't hear from who have exciting things going on as well. So while you have your mouth full of grapes, you're
with
eating like a
grape.
chipmunk over
I
there.
love these. I love these things. Well, it's the best time of year, in my opinion,
Oh, yeah.
to get out to the wineries. So there's a lot going on over the next couple of months, and then heading into Christmas season,
Yeah.
where you've brought something, a little preview of the holidays.
Yes.
Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead and tell us about it.
I think we're on our 30th year of our holiday shopping spree event. It is the 2 weekends around Thanksgiving weekend, November 17 or 16, 17, and December. I don't even remember those dates. It's December feels far away. I think 7th and 8th. It's a ornament themed event where you collect a different ornament at each winery. And this year we partnered with Finger Lakes Laser, and he is creating little cute gnome ornaments.
Just for context, Thanksgiving is about as far away as from now as the end of July was.
Oh, wow.
So it's not far
No,
away.
it is not far. It's 2 months.
Right.
It's not far at all. It feels far. It's like, wow, why are we talking about this already? But it is not far. You are right.
It's happening.
No, it's happening. Yeah. So I brought on a sneak peek, a display of the ornaments that you will receive at each winery. You'll get one of the gnomes at each winery.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Matt Jones of Finger Lakes Laser, he is creating the gnomes.
Oh, wow, we had Matt in.
Yep, he came on in the old studio. Yep. So I partnered with another small business to create all of the ornaments. Tickets are $95 for a couple and $65 for a single.
And as you go from winery to winery, you get a different gnome at each winery?
Yep, you get a different gnome at each winery. I love gnomes. I have a whole tote full of plush gnomes that I put around the house. I have gnome ornaments. I am a gnome girly and a fall girly. And a soup girly. So then again, at each winery, you get a wine and food pairing and then 3 additional wine tastings. You also get a gnome and a souvenir wine glass.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it's not, you can't like register for that yet, right?
No, tickets are for sale. Yep.
Oh, really?
They've been for sale for months. Yep. So you can go right to our website, CayugaWineTrail.com, go under events, and you can purchase tickets. And they've already been selling. One of the wineries is already sold out. They've been selling pretty well.
Well, there it is.
Yep, there it is. Little sneak peek of the ornaments there.
Anything going on? Like, this is going to be a beautiful weekend here in the Finger Lakes. I'm personally going to Virginia to visit my daughter at college where the forecast is rain.
Oh,
But up here, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
like mid-70s, low 70s, sun, beautiful. If somebody's thinking about watching and saying, I haven't been on a wine trail in a while or maybe ever, like, what would you suggest?
the events are kind of winding down, but that doesn't mean they're not open. Everyone is open.
The
Hosmer-
events are down, but I mean, personally, events are great and everything, but I like going,
Yeah.
just kind of
Have a glass.
freewheeling it, yeah. And the vistas, the leaves are starting to change, and yeah, it's generally a pretty exciting time, I think, or a fun time to get out on the wine trails.
Yeah, and I think because there's been rain the last few days. There's rain tomorrow, even though there originally wasn't. There's rain a couple days next week. There's probably going to be harvest activity this weekend too, because they're going to have to do some catching up, or they're going to have to try to get ahead of the rain. So this weekend you might even see some harvest activity somewhere, where you otherwise might not, which is cool. It's a really cool behind the scenes to see.
Like, even if you just see the crates being moved
Yeah, it's cool.
around full of grapes, it's
Yeah.
like the most grapes you'll ever see.
You're like, oh my gosh, am I going to taste those one day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at all those grapes.
It's cool, yeah.
So,
But this is a great time to go. The wineries are still busy. They're still open. They're still ready and willing to serve you wine. Napa and Thirst Shallow, both restaurants are open for lunch. Napa's dinner also. The leaves are starting to change. They're falling all over my yard. It was like overnight, just boom, leaves
Yeah,
everywhere.
yep.
It's been really windy too. So, but it's fall and it's the best time to be here, in my opinion.
I agree. Fall is the
You're a
best.
fall girly too.
Fall is the best.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for, coming in and giving us the update. It's exciting to hear that things are going great and that it looks like a great harvest. And
Yeah,
so
oh,
for
yeah.
wine lovers here in the Finger Lakes, that means that we're going to be enjoying some good wines next year.
Oh, yeah.
Also, November with the Nouveau
Yes.
wines. Yes. So, and then, ice wines, like some of these, they keep them on until the winter on the vines,
Yeah,
right?
they has to be 17 degrees or below for a certain amount of days. I can't remember. It's like 5 to 7 days.
To qualify for being an ice wine?
Qualify to be a true ice wine. Otherwise, you can make it iced. There's ways to make it without that, because we don't always have that weather.
No,
There are
and you
many
can't
winters
wait too long,
you
right?
can't wait too long, and we don't always, with the climate change and what have you,
Sure.
we don't always have that
Well, let's,
circumstance. But there's been last winter, I can't remember who it was. They had that. I think it was Nap. And Thirsty Owl.
well,
They were
we're
able
not gonna
to.
rush
They have a
it.
Cab Sauv ice
We
wine,
don't
which
need
is
2
really
days
rare.
in a row of 17 degrees
Yeah.
for a while, hopefully.
So I don't particularly want that, but
Usually that would take till like, at least mid-December before
Yeah.
you're going to get that type
oh yeah,
of weather.
and in some cases it'll be January.
Yep.
As long as the grapes are fine, they can last.
That's
and
why
there's
those
enough
ice
yield.
wines are more expensive because it's obviously less
Oh yeah,
product to make them out of.
Yep.
But definitely,
and more labor
it's
intensive.
so neat, all the different things you can make from the same
absolutely.
grape. So
Absolutely, yeah.
based on when it's picked and what the weather was like and all that stuff.
And they're sweet. The longer it's on the vine, the sweeter it gets. So that's why they keep it on that long, because it gets super sweet. So they're like 24% residual sugar. They're super sweet. Yeah.
Dessert wines,
Dessert
they're also
wines, yeah.
called, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Catherine. We'll see you next. When we meet next month,
It's like October 30th.
the
I
harvest
think,
will be over for the
Presumably,
for the
yeah.
most part.
for the most part.
And yeah, maybe we can have someone come in and give us a firsthand
Yeah.
account of how it went. But they're all so busy right now.
Oh, yeah.
Not surprised that they're not able to take a time out in the middle of the day on Wednesday and come in and talk
Yeah.
with us. So. Yeah, and then again, holiday shopping spree. Tickets available now.
Yep.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. There they are, those gnomes. You can get one at every winery. We'll have more about that next month too. But
Yep.
if you know you want to go, you can sign up right now.
Absolutely.
At the Cayuga Lake
Tickets are
Wine
selling.
Trail. Okay. Awesome. Well, appreciate you coming in, and thanks everybody for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, click like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back next week. Until then, hey, it's the last weekend of September here in the Finger Lakes. A great weekend to get out. Have a good one. Hope you enjoy it.
Finger Lakes Wine